Last night I was up scrolling till about 2 a.m., scrolling YouTube, scrolling Instagram, and just wasting my time all the way up till 2 a.m. Then I slept at about 3 a.m., woke up at about 10:45 a.m., and had to instantly start moving stuff because my house is being renovated. So I basically did not even start making progress towards what I needed to get done today by like 12:15 p.m. This didn't just happen yesterday. This has been happening for the past 3-4 days. I've been sleeping at about 1, 2, 3 a.m., waking up at about 10, 11 a.m. I woke up pissed off at myself, just wasting my time doing nothing, right? And upon having those emotions, I had a realization that all I need to focus on for 2026 is reinventing myself. Obviously, that's a fancy word, right? Reinvent yourself, popping over the internet. But it simply means that I'm becoming a new person. That's what it means. Reinventing yourself simply means to become a new person. And that is exactly what I've been avoiding for so long. And that's why I've been stuck since 2022. Doing the habits that do not serve me, doing the things that do not serve me, and not doing anything that actually pushes me towards achieving my goals. But what does it mean to become a new person? Obviously, I'm still going to be Ali, right? I am Ali. I'm still going to be Ali. It's just I'm going to be a different version of Ali, a different version of myself, a version of myself with different beliefs, thoughts, actions, behaviors. Right? That is who I'm going to be. That is me becoming a new person. So that is, again, reinventing yourself. Because if I don't do that, I'm going to stay stuck in the exact same position I'm in. And I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. Sleeping super late, waking up super late, looking like crap. This is how I look like right now. And I'm used to looking like this. Big difference. Big difference. And it happened because of how I've been living so far. Now the question is, how am I reinventing myself? And you see so much content on the internet about this, on YouTube, on Instagram about this. It's kind of crazy actually. But I'm just gonna speak about what I'm doing and what I know is gonna work for me, inshallah. So the first thing is setting goals that actually scare me, goals that I am doubtful if I'll be able to achieve. It's like I might get there, I might not get there. But that's the beauty behind it. Because upon setting goals that instill doubt within you, that you may or may not be able to achieve them, that is when you are forced to change. That is when you are forced to adopt new habits, new beliefs, new mindsets, new everything basically, new perspectives, new thoughts, everything. And the reason I say this is because every single time I've done this in the past, right? I've only lived 20 years of life, but every single time I've done this in the past, it has always led to me having some sort of identity shift, some sort of a change for the better. For example, a few years ago, I wanted to achieve a 100% scholarship for school, right? I wanted to achieve a 100% scholarship. And for that, I had to get the absolute best grades. Like, I'm talking top of the top of the top. I had to get that if I wanted that scholarship. And because that goal was so big and I cared so much about it, it was meaningful to me. And I didn't know whether I was going to be able to achieve that or not. It pushed me to absolutely change every single bit of myself to achieve that goal by the will of Allah. For example, I had to change my habits, right? I had to change my study habits. I had to learn better ways to actually study. I had to learn how to improve my focus. I stopped doing the things that diminished my focus and I started doing the things that improved my focus, right? I removed other things, other distractions from my life that would take me away from this goal, and I started to only focus on this as much as possible. Beliefs about myself shifted. The thoughts I had on a week-to-week and day-to-day basis shifted. Another example is that I ran a half marathon at the start of 2025. And I signed up for that mid-October. So I started training for that mid-October. And again, because of this goal, I was a completely different person after I ended the half marathon as opposed to when I started it. I knew I could push myself so much more. My habits were better because I had to prepare for a half marathon. There was no sleeping super late, waking up super late because I had to run 3 times a week after Fajr. I didn't have an option. Right? If I wanted to perform my best, I had to go to sleep early. It forced me to change. It forced me to adopt better habits. I was forced to push myself beyond what I think I could actually push myself, because if I didn't do that, then I wouldn't actually improve. Right? I wouldn't get my PR. Now, granted, I did fail my PR. I aimed for about a sub 2 half marathon. That was my first time, but I got like 2 hours and 2 minutes. Happens. But regardless of if I achieved that goal or not, I was still forced to change in order to even get close to achieving this goal. It's like if you aim for the stars, but you land at the moon. Something like that. Yeah, something like that. So I was reflecting upon what goals actually are going to force me to change and what goals are kind of scary for me this year. And it came down to 2 main goals. The first one was getting into the best shape of my life. I look terrible. Holy shit. I actually look terrible. I'm used to having my abs. I'm used to feeling good. I'm used to feeling amazing. I look like crap right now. And I also feel like crap right now. Because again, like I mentioned, my sleep schedule is absolutely whack. Absolutely whack. I might be good some days, but then the other 3-4 days after that, I'm all messed up. If I want to get into the best shape of my life, that requires me to feel my best as well and also look my best. And those 2 goals, achieving them in 2026 actually sounds daunting to me. Because I have a shoulder injury, number one. So I have a torn rotator cuff. And I'm currently I'm like in and out of rehab, right? So sometimes training might be going good, then I might push myself too hard and I might have a flare up for my injury. And because of that, I have to rebuild again. That has happened about 3 times now. 3 times. And I'm now basically in the middle of rebuilding from the 3rd flare up. And I hope there's no 4th flare up, inshallah. I really hope there's no fourth layer, inshallah. But that makes it scary for me, right? Because I can't really build muscle and I can't, achieve that good physique, aesthetic physique, if I can't really train hard, right? If I cannot train to failure. And so that alone forces me to adopt better habits, right? To adopt better eating habits. Since I was eating a bunch of sugar before, right? It forces me to adopt better sleeping habits, right? And this also is linked with me feeling better, because I feel like trash majority of the time. I feel lazy, I feel low energy because I just don't sleep enough, right? And that is because of my bad habits. If I'm scrolling at night on my phone till like 12, 1 a.m. and I have to wake up 7, 8, 9 a.m. the next day, right? Then of course, right? I'm gonna feel like crap. Of course, like let's say for example, right? You go to sleep at 1 a.m. every single day and you have to wake up for Fajr about 6:30, right? And then you go back to sleep and you have to wake up at 8 a.m. to go to work for, your shift at 9 a.m. Do you really think you're gonna have good sleep? 1 to 6:30 is like 5.5 hours. Then let's say you go to sleep again at 7 to 8 is like 1 hour. That's like 6.5 hours of broken sleep. Not to mind it's gonna be bad quality because you were scrolling on your phone for 2, 3, 4 hours before you even went to bed. Of course your recovery is going to be subpar. So that's why this goal genuinely scares me, because like I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this year, but inshallah I will, inshallah. Pray for me, please. It forces me to change. It forces me to adopt better sleeping habits, eating habits, be focused during my workouts, not be like, oh yeah, because I'm injured I can't really train hard, so I'm not really going to focus during my workouts. I'm going to go on Instagram during my workouts. Like, bro, of course I'm not going to have the best workouts and the best gains and the best recovery from that. That's the thing. This is going to force me to change. That's why I kept this goal number 1. Number 2 is learning the Arabic language. Specifically doing a program of like 280 something Arabic lessons. That is the goal. And that comes out to about 6 lessons a week. Now, if I were to act like how I am right now, I would probably do 3 to 4 lessons per week instead of 6, because I just get lazy and I just scroll on my phone and I just didn't want to do Arabic, so I won't really do Arabic. I can't do that now. If I want to achieve this goal, if I want to become my new identity, I can't do that right now. I can't afford that. So again, if I really, really, really want to achieve this goal, and I genuinely care about both of those goals so much, like those 2 goals mean a lot to me. Again, I'm basically being forced to change my habits, my mindset, my behaviors, my thoughts, everything, in order to achieve these goals by the will of Allah. The second thing is identifying who that person is that can actually achieve those goals by the will of Allah. The reason I mentioned who that person is because a goal is simply a future state of being. There's a version of you in the future who has, by the will of Allah, achieved that goal. Now you need to figure out, okay, what habits does that person have? What is that person's thought process? How does he make decisions? How does he value X thing over Y thing, right? How does he move, operate, think? What does his calendar look like? What does his day look like? Right? What does he prioritize? What's his morning routine like? What's his night routine like? And the best part about this is it's like you creating your own character. I don't know if you played video games before, but I was someone who played Xbox a ton when I was younger. I bought a PS4 as well. I played that a ton as well. And I also bought a PS5 and I played that a ton as well. So every single time, if there was a game like FIFA or there was a game like, Fortnite, whatever it may be, I would always spend so much time creating my own character. Because I'd be like, dude, this is like me, That's the exact same thing, but in real life now. You get to create this character. You get to create this version of yourself. Sky is the limit, my friend. Sky is the limit. Yes, the more ambitious you are with this, the more you're going to have to sacrifice to become that person. But again, you can create them how you want to. It's you, right? And it's you 2.0. That's the thing I tell myself. I want to become Elite 2.0 this year. That is the one main goal I have, right? Because if I become Elite 2.0, then of course, I'm going to get that goal of getting in shape, inshallah, and I'm going to get that goal of learning the Arabic language, inshallah, because Ali 2.0 has the habits, the mindset, the behaviors, the perspectives, the routines, the calendar, whatever it may be. He has those systems in place in order to achieve the goals that I want to achieve right now. So all I need to focus on is just becoming Ali 2.0. That's it. So what you can do is just write more about that person. Write about who that version is. Write about the characteristics of that person. Imagine yourself as that person, right? Become obsessed with this. This is you, bro. This is you. Because it's so ironic how we know so much more about our favorite creators, but we don't know jack poop about ourselves. Think about that. We don't know jack about ourselves, but we know so much about our favorite creators. And similarly, we don't know so much about God. We don't know so much about Allah. Yeah, we know more than that about our favorite creators. Like, it's kind of sad when you think about it, right? Because at the end of the day, they don't even know you. And despite that, you put them over yourself. Like, personally, I don't really write down in detail who that version of myself is. I kind of just imagine him and visualize him. I feel a lot more connected to him that way. And one more thing is also that I have a mood board as well. So it's basically a bunch of images that make up this version of myself, right? That make up who I want to be. That kind of portray the vibe of this person that I want to become, inshallah. I just focus on thinking like him, acting like him. How would he make decisions in this case? What would he do in this case? What does his morning routine look like? Okay, XYZ person on the internet says, you need to do this, but does my 2.0 self do that or not? When he's offered a chocolate, does he take it or does he not take it? Like, it's small things like these, When you start to frame every single decision of yours from the lens of this person, then You are slowly and steadily going to become him eventually over time. It's going to be hard at first. You're going to forget a ton. But over time, you are slowly and steadily going to become that person, inshallah. That's what I'm trying to do as well. And just make sure that this person and the goals that you've set for yourself are within the boundaries of faith. Again, 4 pillars I talk about: mindset, habits, fitness, faith, right? So whatever these 3 pillars are, whatever goals you want to achieve in these 3 pillars, just make sure that all of them are within the realms of faith, are within the boundaries of Islam. The third and final thing is taking a leap of faith, committing to this process. I would so many times know what my 2.0 self would do in a certain situation, but I wouldn't do that because I'd be like, it's too uncomfortable and I don't really want to sacrifice this right now. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. And I would indulge and do the behavior that my current self would do. But the thing is, right? I heard this quote from Harrop Wellness. He's like, your new life is going to cost you your old one. And the word here is cost. And that is the perfect word. Cost. It will cost you your old life. I heard this thing again from Harrop Wellness. People would prefer to live in a familiar hell as opposed to an unfamiliar heaven. They would literally live in a situation of pain that they are comfortable in, that they know, that is familiar to them, as opposed to living a life better than that, a life that they genuinely want, doing habits they genuinely want to do, but it's unfamiliar to them. That is crazy. But that is the thing. That is why most people just cannot transcend and kill their old self, right? That's why I've struggled for so long, because it's uncomfortable, bro. It's hard. It's difficult. It's challenging. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, but I have to. If I want to achieve these goals, inshallah, I have to. Because my current self does not have the ability to actually achieve those goals. He doesn't have the mindsets, the habits. He doesn't have the perspectives, the behaviors, the beliefs in order to achieve these goals, inshallah. He doesn't have that. So that's why I have no other option but to actually change and become this person. Otherwise, I can say goodbye to my goals. It's just about being like, enough is enough. I'm done living like this. Screw this. Let me just send. And when you send it, just don't go back. You are going to mess up 100%, but just stay on the path. Stay on the path and do your best. That is the thing I'm telling myself. If I want to become Elite 2.0, it's going to be extremely uncomfortable. Because I'm going to have to go to sleep early, wake up early. It's going to be hard the first couple of days. But it's not hard, it's just new. And, I'm going to have to, like, for example, stop scrolling on my phone and, actually start eating clean consistently and start working out properly and start sleeping enough. Like, all these things. Doing Arabic lessons when I don't feel like doing them. When my brain's all fried, I still have to do the lesson for the week. It's stuff I know my 2.0 self will do, but it's hard for me right now, which is why I don't want to do it. But I understand that if I want to achieve this goal, I have to do this. I have to. So that is basically the 3 steps. So those are basically the 3 steps. But now I'm going to show you the system that I've kind of made for myself in order to put everything that we've talked about into practice. So I can put in the inputs I need to put in on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis in order to become this person. Let's move to that. Okay, we are recording. So this is my system to put into practice what I mentioned before on a day-to-day basis, right? And also week-to-week basis. So if I look at what goals I've set, right? And also the things I just need to do in order to become the person I want to become, inshallah, I've put all of them right here. Now, these are the things I need to do on a day-to-day basis, right? So I need to understand the Quran, study the Quran at least more than 20 minutes every single day, because again, I'm a Muslim, it makes sense to me, right? I need to practice my speech. Content is one of the things I actually want to work on. It's fun. I want to improve upon that. So that's why I need to practice my speech every single day, right? Because my speech is not good right now. And another thing, right? I need to do at least 8 to 10K steps every single day. My cardio sucks right now. I haven't even ran like 1 mile after my half marathon, which was a year ago. So it's bad, right? So that's why I want to do 8 to 10K steps every single day. So if I walk up the stairs, at least I don't get gassed out, right? And the last thing is sleeping before 11 p.m. The reason this is so important is because if I don't sleep on time, I don't wake up on time, I don't get the sleep I need, therefore I'm sleep deprived, therefore I don't really get into the best shape of my life. Again, it does not serve my goal. And I know for a fact that my 2.0 self would 110% sleep early and wake up early, right? And that's what it is. So if I do all these 4 things, number 1, 2, 3, 4, I have won the day because I've done the things I need to do every single day in order to get to my goal, right? That is one thing. Now, I'm also tracking my weekly inputs, right? So for me, the 4 things I need to track every single week are my training sessions. I'm training about 4 times a week right now, upper lower. Number 2 are my Arabic lessons. I'm trying to do about 6 Arabic lessons per week. Number 3 are my deep work hours. I'm trying to get about 7 deep work hours per week because I know that is what will actually allow me to move the needle forward. And number 4 are basically my faith hours, right? So if I get my training session done today, I'll just check it, right? If, for example, I do 2 Arabic lessons today, I'll get done. That's right. So if I do, let's say, I don't know, 2 hours of deep work today, boom, I add that, and obviously that's empty right now. But now what basically happens is that if I do this, eventually it shows up in my weekly dashboard. So I can see my progress for every single week of 2026. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. As you can see, right, it's going to show me, okay, how many days I won. Obviously, this is right now. I haven't done anything, but it's going to show me how many days I won this week. It's also going to show me how many training sessions I actually did, right?
because again, it shows the check mark. So every single box that is checked is going to sum all those up and tell me the exact amount of checks I have for the specific column, which basically denotes my training sessions this week. My Arabic lessons are all going to be summed up. My deep work hours are going to be summed up, and my faith hours are also going to be summed up. So it's going to show me my total hours, my total lessons, my total training sessions right here in the bottom. If my training session numbers are 4, that is perfect. If my Arabic lessons are, at least 6, that's perfect. My deep work hours are at least 7, that's perfect. Right? So that's basically how I'm tracking my inputs, which is the most important thing. Because if I can get the right inputs every single week, every single day, then inshallah I will achieve my goals and I will become the person I want to be, inshallah. Last thing are my needle movers. Achieve the goals that I have in my mind and specify my weekly and daily inputs. For example, editing a YouTube video is part of my deep work hours, right? 2 Arabic lessons is part of Arabic lessons, right? Training upper body is part of my training session, every single day. These are already specific. I don't need to specify them even more and make my calendar. That is something that is going to help me become my 2.0 self. It's not directly linked to me accomplishing my needle moving daily tasks and weekly tasks, but again, really helps me. That is still a needle mover for me, and I've done this already, so I can just tick that. Now, one more thing is like the reason I'm tracking everything so meticulously is simply because it allows me to get better. Think about this. I can see exactly where I messed up every single week, right? Because it's going to show me in my weekly dashboard. So again, if I'm here right now, right, I can see exactly where I messed up. For example, I might be like, okay, I got like 3 Arabic lessons instead of 6. Okay, that means I need to improve here. I need to dial in here. I can't mess up here, right? If my deep work hours were 3 instead of 7, that means I messed up, right? That obviously messes up my outputs as well. If, for example, my training sessions were 3 instead of 4, that means I messed up there. I know exactly where I messed up. Therefore, I know where I need to improve, right? If I was to just wing it and just do things without any structure behind it, without tracking my inputs, then I wouldn't have any idea of where I am messing up, where I need to improve, and where I need to get better, right? It's the exact same thing with my days won. For example, let's say I won only 3 days out of 7. I can look into this and see, okay, what specifically caused me to lose the day here? Was it that I didn't really read my Quran? Was it that I did not practice my speech? Was it that I did not do my 10K steps? Was it that I did not sleep before 11 p.m.? What was it? And then I can improve upon that. I can figure out, okay, what is causing me to fail here specifically, and I can improve upon that slowly and steadily over time. That is the power of tracking my inputs, right? And the reason I'm only doing inputs is because that is what determines the results, inshallah, right? By the will of Allah, after Allah's qadr, the only thing that's going to lead you to the results are your inputs, right? If I don't do my inputs, then of course I'm not gonna get the result. So that is what I'm basically tracking with the system. And again, this is just the first iteration of it. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it just like this. I might change it, I might improve it. Actually, that is probably gonna happen, but this is the base, right? I just need something to get started, and that is exactly what I'm doing here. So that is my system to track my daily and weekly inputs in order to become my 2.0 self and achieve the goals I have set for this year, inshallah, and basically reinvent myself in 2026.
So overall, that is how I'm becoming my 2.0 self. That is how I'm reinventing myself this year, inshallah. And I'm documenting the entire journey here on YouTube. Again, my main goals are getting into the best shape of my life, which is actually what I'm going to document the most probably, along with the mindsets and the habits and everything like that I'm building towards achieving that goal, inshallah, and learning the Arabic language. And again, we're doing this through mastering our mindset, habits, fitness, faith. So that was it for this video. I hope you found that beneficial. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.